Hello everyone, my name is the RetroDan, and today I'm here to talk or to introduce a topic which is really dear to me, which is budget gaming or gaming on a budget, whether it is digitally or physically. This is something that is very close or near to me because over the years a lot of people have asked me for budgets. Like, I have X money, what should I buy, either second hand or to get introduced to gaming or to introduce someone to gaming, or what should I get on this or that Steam discount. And it's also a really good way for you to get into the hobby without having to spend money on the best PC, because sometimes budget gaming can also mean what games can I get for cheap that will run on my cheap PC, which can't run a lot of the high-end stuff. So I've taken note of a few topics that I think we could go over in this discussion, starting by the topic, is it really expensive? And the answer is that it really depends, and it comes down to how you want to approach your gaming. Starting by, is it physical or is it digital gaming? If physical, you can always haggle and go through places like Facebook Market or eBay and try to get things for the cheapest price possible, like hand-me-downs or things that people want to get rid of to maybe start a small physical gaming collection. But the main focus of this budget gaming series of discussions we are going to be doing here on the channel will focus on the digital part, and maybe if you want me to talk about the physical part, since I am a physical game collector as well, I can get into it. But digital is the main focus here because nowadays people are really invested in building their Steam library and their Steam profiles to show others what they are playing and get online achievements and trophies, like I myself do so. So let's start by the digital part. But take note that you can make just as much digital or physical, you can make them as cheap as one another. I think it really goes without saying that having a cheap or budget gaming collection when it comes to the digital side of things is all about going through the discounts, waiting, and being patient for the games you want to play, and also reminding yourself that you don't always have to play the most recent stuff, because most people who are watching this video won't be able to play everything in their minds that they want to play until they die, or even if they die, they are not going to have played all the games they want to, because nowadays there are too many games coming out, and on top of that there are already a lot of games that have been released that you might want to play and still haven't, and you need to focus on the things that come to your mind instantly and try to get them as cheap as possible. So keeping that in mind, it's always about getting discounts, keeping track and on SteamDB or other online sites that give you information or for the historical low prices of discounts on games you want. The thing I usually do, since I always go through weekly discounts and I'm very used to buying games since I have an over 500 game collection on Steam, is keeping in mind discounts for games that you want, that you have seen going constantly on discount, and seeing if that price ever goes down from what it usually is on 3 or 4 discounts. So for example, if there's a game that you want that usually goes on discount for €5, you can keep that game in mind because it is going to go on discount again. Discounts are not a one-time thing, and you keep that game in mind and see if after 3 or 4 discounts it goes lower than those €5 or $5. And then if it doesn't, you can go ahead and spend those $5 because that's probably the lowest price you can get on that specific game. Some people might also be worried that by restraining yourself to these low budgets like the €5, the €10, you won't be able to create a good library or have good games to play, which is a really dumb notion, because if you play by the green markets, which means sites or even Steam, or sites that you know that have keys that come directly from the developer and are not stolen by credit card scams or those other things, you can get games for pretty cheap. Like, we're talking €10 or less, or €5 or less, or maybe €1 and a little more for games that are AAA, that would somewhere in the past have cost you 20 to 30 euro, that are still really good games that have held up and are really good experiences from start to finish. Of course, from time to time you will want to play something that has come out like in the past months or something that is trending, but you have to remind yourself that That's just how things go. Sometimes you don't have enough money to play the most recent things. I know I have skipped on a lot of games that I wanted because I had to make choices. Either I buy a couple more games for a cheap price and save some more money, or I spend the entire of my budget for gaming on something that has come out and then beat that game and spend the entire time playing nothing else. Even though that for me that is not a problem because I have way too many games over what I should have because I've been buying them for way too long. You also have to keep in mind that FOMO is not a thing. You need to drop the FOMO because there are way too many games for you to play for you to be in a constant state of FOMO. If you don't know what FOMO is, it's fear of missing out. You are never going to miss out on anything because games aren't going anywhere unless they're getting discontinued, which happens very, very rarely. If you are a normal gamer that doesn't create content and doesn't need to get a video uploaded on the first week that a game comes out, don't worry. Just don't go online and get spoiled by that game, because nowadays the common trend is that if a game comes out on 2 to 3 months from the release of that game, it's going to be on discount. Even if it's something as low as 10%, you can get that game for a lower price than what it released. So don't worry, don't have fear of missing out. There are a lot of games for you to play for cheap, so don't be afraid of missing out on a collective experience, because gaming is not only about the community, it's always about what you experience yourself, and that's what really matters at the end of the day. And also, disregarding all illegalities that this might involve when it comes to the distribution, you have to make the most out of emulation. And if you are a guy that likes achievement hunting, there are even platforms that allow you to have a community when it comes to emulation and retro gaming. There are a lot of people who indulge in retro achievements and RetroArch and Emulation, which have thousands of old games for free that you can play now just by downloading them without spending a penny. It's not free-to-play games, they cost something at some time, but now they're not available physically or digitally, and you can play them for free by emulating. And those games are really good. You can't disregard old games just because they're old, because those games in some way or another are the foundation of what you are playing nowadays, and they're really good games. Everything from the Nintendo 64 to the Game Boy Advance, there's a huge library of games I'm sure most of you haven't even touched. I mean, not talking for myself because I've been emulating since I was like 12, but there are games that you are going to enjoy and you are going to want to play and you are going to stay on your mind for you to discuss with others. Hidden gems that you might have never played if you don't try emulation. But I just wanted to make this video as a quick introduction to this topic, because from now on I want to dump my experience on buying games for years and years and recommending games to other people. I want to dump all that information into all of you. I want to make videos on games I know get very cheap that you all should buy at low prices, for things lower than 10, lower than €5 that you can get that can change your life by how much quality they have, and so you never run out of things to play. And if you have a small budget that you can invest from month to month, I want to make sure that I have a portfolio of videos and tips, and that you can directly contact me if you need some opinions, so that you always have in mind that you can game and you can be part of this community for cheap. So moving on, you can tell me in the comments what you want. I can give you budgets for RPG games, I can give you budgets for FPS, RTS, simulation games. I can give you budgets for $5, like how much games, what games should you get if you only have $5 for your Steam account or for your PlayStation account. I want to help you guys, and I want to help the part of the community that doesn't have a lot of money, because I know that can be a big part, and money isn't easy in today's economy and life, and we all deserve to live and be part of this amazing community, which is the gaming community. And if you want me to help you when it comes to budget or recommendations, make sure to comment. These were just some loose ideas that I wanted to get out of my head onto you guys, but this has been the Retro Den, and I'm out.